Welcome to the Toyota's Honda VTEC Challenge, and what better place to kick off the season than here at Silverstone, home of British Motorsport. I'm here today joined by Neil Holden, sponsor of the challenge today. Hi Neil, how are you?
Hi,
nice to meet you. TDI North has sponsored this challenge today. Just tell us a little bit about them and how they've helped you overcome some troubles I believe you've had along the way.
Yeah, well, I'm workshop manager at TDI North. This car is our hire car that we're going to be hiring out, available for arrive and drive packages. We thought we'd better throw me in the car first to give it a good shakedown and make sure that everything works well. Luckily we did, because about 2 days before we were about to set off, we found that the head gasket had gone. So I pulled the head off, did a quick head gasket change, and then had a couple of issues with some radiators, which was the cause of the problem. But about 3 radiators later, got something that'll hold together, but we ended up having to use a bit of Radwell to hold the pressure in the system. So fingers crossed, she's going well.
So how are you expecting her to do in the race itself? You're going to push her a little bit further?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully I can go a bit better than what I did in qualifying. Still trying to learn the track. Tyres are brand new on, so they're still a bit green. Brake pads were fresh. I've just had to bed them in qualifying as well. So hopefully I can push a little bit harder in the race and see if we can get a bit higher up the field.
The scene set for the opening round of the 2015 Toyota's Honda VTEC Challenge here on the national circuit at Silverstone. Pole position goes to Robert Birkinshaw with Matthew Walker alongside, then Phil Wright and Stuart King heading the production class from Craig Smith. Peter Venn is the super tuner pole position man from Martin Kemp. Then it's Neil Holden. Will Watkin next from Darren Smee, Andrew Paul and Paula Webb completing the grid in her Honda Civic Type R. Pole position on the national circuit outside of the front row to enable a sweep around to Copse Corner, and away we go. The season is underway. What a cracking start from Stuart King, who looks up the inside into third place as they go into Copse for the first time. Craig Smith in 20, Matthew Walker to his inside, followed by Neil Holden and Darren Smee. The race leaders coming down towards Magotstowe for the first time. Here's the camera at Maggots. Birkinshaw, Phil Wright in second position. Side by side, Stuart King and Matthew Walker. Then it's Neil Holden and Craig Smith, who gets in all sideways. He's fighting the car, and contact between the two. That was Peter Venn in the white Integra who went into the side, but we go in car with Neil Holden. He's the red car, back of shot, coming through. So Neil qualifying 4th in class in his Honda Civic. Matthew Walker there in 3rd place at the moment. Phil Wright holding 2nd. This is the view from Craig Smith. You can see he's fighting the car. He gets it back. That's a lot of work, isn't it, to recover, and bang into the side goes Peter Venn. And that is going to, I think, be curtains for those two guys. The first lap of the first race of the season, not the way that we or they wanted the season to start. So in car again with Neil Holden having a very good go, and down the inside passes Stuart King to take 2nd position in the production class. We're going through Copse Corner, just having a quick look to see whether the compliment's going to be repaid. Meanwhile though, a change for 2nd position. Matthew Walker in the tuner class goes ahead of Phil Wright. Now just to explain the classes, we have 3 classes. Production, which is pretty much as you would expect, and that goes up to 3 litres. The tuner class, 1820cc up to 3 litres, but allowing for engine swaps and engine modifications. And then the super tuner class, which allows for anything not in the previously mentioned 2 categories. This though, one of the production runners, Neil Holden in red, and some terrific onboard footage. Camera placed nicely back in the car so we can see him at work. And what a terrific scrap this is for the 2nd position in the productions. And at the moment it's the Integra Inside Civic who I think is going to have the line. Side by side across the line they go. So this is what this championship is all about. We've got a great number of events for you this year. And the next round takes place on the 16th and 17th of May at Rockingham. If you want to come along as a spectator or maybe as a prospective driver, then you'll be made very, very welcome by Jonathan and Lindsay Fletcher, the organisers, in the paddock. Here's the view though down into Brooklands, and again Neil Holden goes through on the inside, so Civic ahead of Integra. This for second position in production. Ahead of them, the black. Oh, and off Brooklands goes the Civic, brings some dirt onto the track. That could have been nasty, but Stuart King read it well and goes through again on the inside. This is a really good scrap. This is, as I said, exactly what this championship is all about. Side by side, Holden getting a little bit more of a run as they come out of Woodcote along the main straight down towards Copse. Blue flags being shown to some of the slower cars sharing the track with us this weekend. So our lads and girl racer, of course, have got to deal with that slower traffic, and thus far doing it admirably. Back in car though with Neil Holden. So Neil, the workshop manager at TDI North, tyre champion in Time Attack Club, so no stranger to pedalling cars quickly, and he's hanging on at the moment to that second position, fourth position in the race, but significantly second in class. But Stuart King goes back up the inside, and you wonder whether this is going to be a question of these guys just picking their moments and timing it, because with this sort of racing you could be in the lead on the penultimate lap and then come on to the last lap and the second place car makes a move. Here's Martin Kemp, who's got the fastest lap in the Super Tuners. Martin at the moment, the lone Super Tuner class, he's running in sixth position, but popping in some very good laps in the 68 car. The man from Spalding in Lincolnshire owns GMK Panic Link. But back to Rob Birkinshaw, who's got the overall fastest lap of the race, back on lap 3, 66.294, just a shade under 90 mile an hour average around here. So that's a very quick average. You consider the twists and turns of the Brooklands Luffield complex. So these guys are getting a really good turn of speed. And here's Will Watkin. Will, who comes from Bourne in Lincolnshire, and his Honda Civic, long distance HGV driver, so different sort of driving for his weekends away from the cab. And this is his first year of racing. You can see the yellow square with the black cross on the back, indicating that he's a newcomer to racing. And so too is the chasing car. That's Darren Smee, currently running fourth in the production in the camouflage livery. We go back to Will Watkin, who looks like he's going to wind up with third position in the tuner class. But here's the race leader, Robert Birkinshaw, who's pulled out a very good lead in this race so far over Matthew Walker, still running in second position. Just saw Paula Webb there. This is the scrap for third between Stuart King and Neil Holden. In fact, it's the scrap for fourth overall, second and third in the production class. And these two have had an absolutely tremendous scrap at the moment. It does look like Stuart King has got the upper hand, but we'll see whether Holden can get back on terms. Robert Birkinshaw on his last lap goes into Beckett's. Some traffic to deal with, and thus far he's had no problems with the traffic. He's gobbled those up, and he's going down the Wellington Straight and coming into Brooklands. So he takes the sweeping line on the brakes down into Brooklands, drifts out to the far reaches of the circuit. We're going to go back. There's the third place car going through. 66, Paula Webb, the Beckingham-based driver, an accountant by trade. Second full season of VTEC Challenge racing and enjoying it. But it's the checkered flag and a win. The opening race of the season goes to Robert Birkinshaw. It's going to be Matthew Walker in second position. Here's Paula Webb, who's running in sixth position in production, 10th position overall in the race. Again, having to deal with some of the slower cars sharing the track with us. Phil Wright will take third position. Matthew Walker was second. Paula Webb a lap down on the leaders, but a great race from Paula. There is Stuart King, who goes through as well. Stuart getting the better of Neil Holden, but it's the first race win of the year, the opener to Robert Birkinshaw. Matthew Walker in second. Phil Wright wins the production class from Stuart King and Neil Holden. Super Tuner won by Martin Kemp. Then it was Will Watkin, Darren Smee, Andrew Paul and Paula Webb in 10th position. Non-finishes for Craig Smith and Peter Venn.
fantastic race. You must be feeling amazing. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, a great race. Not a bad start. Phil made a good start, I think, front row behind. So I just kind of held him off from inside. Pushed on for 4 or 5 laps, just got a nice little gap. Could see Matt had got back to second, so I just kind of controlled what were from gap that were behind me.
Hi Matt, great race. Second, first race of the season. You must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad I finished, to be honest with you. I missed second gear on the line and then went off on the gravel over in the complex, so I'm glad to be here, to be honest with you.
Going into tomorrow's race, are you going to change anything to see if you can bridge that gap between you and Rob?
Yeah, new tyres on the front, and I've noticed there's a bolt come loose on the gear linkage. I need to replace that and just think a bit more on the line. Not let everyone go past.
Hi Phil, third on the grid, third on the podium today, production class winner. You must be feeling pretty good, first race of the season.
Yeah, great start. We had some problems in qualifying, the car had a misfire and it stopped, but thanks to the camaraderie in the pit, somebody had a spare, got it going, and yeah, it held all the way through the race, so very pleased.
You won the Super Tuner class today, the first round of the Honda VTEC Challenge. You must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good, like, considering the clutch was slipping all the way round. I dropped right back on the start line, but we managed to make it up, kept it in top gear most of the way round, and made a reasonably good time, like. So I was quite happy with that for my first race, and for a novice, ain't bad, is it? So I'm happy. So.
Cars assembling on the grid for the second race, and pole position goes to the race 1 winner, Rob Birkinshaw. Matthew Walker alongside, then Phil Wright and Stuart King. Neil Holden and Martin Kemp next up. Will Watkin and Darren Smee on row 4. Row 5, Andrew Paul and Paula Webb, with Craig Smith, his car repaired. Sadly, Peter Venn's machine, his Integra, not being able to repair. Such a shame for Peter, joining the championship this weekend, and we hope that he'll be back at Rockingham in May. Lights on here for race 2, and away we go. And it looks like a good clean start. Good start by Rob Birkinshaw once again from that pole position. So Birkinshaw leads from King, Walker, Neil Holden, Sir Darren Smee, followed by Phil Wright. Wright's a little bit further back than we might have expected him to be. Martin Kemp in the Super Tuner is there as well, all safely down to Maggots for the first time. Birkinshaw still there, Matt Walker second, King and Holden engaged in battle once again. Then Darren Smee goes through. There's Will Watkin, another of our first time drivers joining the championship, in addition to Peter Venn. Martin Kemp, Neil Holden, Will Watkin and Craig Smith, all newcomers to the championship. But it's Birkinshaw that leads from Matthew Walker, and again these two engaged in battle. They had a superb race, as you saw in race 1, and they're doing the same again in race 2. A lot of respect, giving each other room. This is exactly what racing should be like. At the moment it's Neil Holden who has the upper hand over the white Integra, who goes back down the inside. So Stu King, Cheltenham-based man, company director, third season in the VTEC Challenge, having had a year off, goes back down the inside line. And I'll tell you what, if these two are at it all year like this, we're going to enjoy it, they're going to enjoy it. And if you fancy a little bit of cost-effective racing, why don't you come along and play at one of the later rounds, up into Maggots, and then they'll swing round into Beckett, and it's Holden who has the upper hand at the moment. Will Watkin in the Civic Type R is down behind them. Then Darren Smee in the camouflage livery. We'll hopefully have a look at that. It's a great rattle, that car, and he, unsurprisingly, is a member of our British Army, and this is his second season of VTEC Challenge, and won the Armed Forces Race Challenge in 2014, so experienced race driver. Now you'll see graphics telling you about fastest laps in the races, and I can tell you in race number 1, I forgot to tell you in race number 1, that Robert Birkinshaw took the championship lap record away from Richard Foden. Richard originally had the lap record back in 2012, 1:07, and that was beaten by Birkinshaw on lap 3 in race 1, 1:06.294. So we're into new territory as far as lap records are concerned. So the championship getting quicker and quicker, which is great news as the cars come down the national straight. Paula Webb there. There's Craig Smith, so we get a decent look at Craig Smith rather than just the opening few corners this time. And Craig in the production class trying to work his way up the order. So Craig Smith trying to catch up with Paula Webb, and that will be for 5th position in the production class. Neil Holden now finds himself dicing it out with Martin Kemp, who's got through. So Martin Kemp from Neil Holden, then it's Stuart King. Now remember, Stuart had the upper hand in race number 1, so at the moment the fortunes of the two switched around. Coming down the straight past the BRDC centre, Stuart King in 73 is there and chasing hard, and just a little bit too far over the curbs there for Holden, and you can see just how Stu King has reeled him in, and he's going to tuck the Integra down the inside as he did in the first race, although he doesn't there because Holden had a more defensive line towards the centre of the track, so slightly more defensive, hangs on to position for the moment as we go back, or go up I should say, to Matthew Walker, who once again is running in 2nd position. The winning gap in race number 1 incidentally was 13 seconds. Birkinshaw to Walker, both of these guys running in the tuner class. The other car we have racing in class T for the tuners is Will Watkins, so he's 3rd in class at the moment, and a little way back. So here is Matthew Walker, comes from Monmouthshire and owns MEC Industrial Engineering, and as you might expect of a Welshman, without getting stereotypical, has some experience in rallying and done a few VTEC races in previous seasons, but good to see him out racing this weekend. As through goes Martin Kemp in 3rd position, and then Neil Holden and Stuart King very much engaged in battle for the lead of the production class. Now we've lost Phil Wright therefore, just looking at the timing screen, so sadly Phil Wright, who was behind those guys off the start, has had problems and is out of it. But once again, Rob Birkinshaw has got the fastest lap of the race and improved the lap records. He's gone down to a 66.219 and edging towards that 90-mile-an-hour bracket. He's not quite there yet, 89.18 miles per hour on that last lap, but this the battle for the production. We are going to get a different production class winner here, and at the moment it's Neil Holden who holds it, but he goes wide, and through on the inside goes Stu King up into the lead of the production class with that move. So he punishes Holden for the mistake, and as they come out of Luffield and through Stowe, it's the Integra that has the upper hand over the Honda Civic. We're on to the last lap. This is the view from the race leader, Rob Birkinshaw. Again, the lead is out to over 10 seconds. It looks like it's going to be a similar gap to race 1 over Matthew Walker, also in the tuner class in 2nd position. So this the view from the office of the race leader, and it looks like it's going to be a double win for him. Comes through Beckett's. Now we'll tee up for this long straight, the Wellington straight. A little bit of a breather, you might say. I don't think he's got any competition, as I say. He was 10 or so seconds clear as they came across the line for the last lap. Down past the BRDC centre, down the gears, turns in, running a little bit, runs over to the right-hand side of the track, now coming through Luffield. Closing down on Darren Smee, who's running 3rd position in production. I think Darren is going to run the full race distance, because there is Robert Birkinshaw, who takes the checkered flag. Darren Smee immediately in front of him will have to run through another lap on his way to a production class podium. Well, that was an absolutely cracking race from the VTECs. There is Craig Smith, who will take 4th position in production. He was a lap down, but here's the scrap for the production class win, and it's Stuart King who holds the upper hand again. He's going to get the better of the battle. He was second in class last time behind Phil Wright, and at the moment he's got it, but we're in car once again with Neil Holden, who's going to pile the pressure on. Holden, I think, might be too far back to do anything as they come out of Woodcote for the last time. We look for the checkered flag, and the production class victory is going to go to Stuart King from Neil Holden. So it's a second and a third for Holden, a second and a win in production for Stuart King here at Silverstone on the opening day of the season. Some terrific racing from the Toyo Tyres Honda VTEC Challenge. And remember, we move to Rockingham next time, then Snetterton, Castle Coombe, Brands Hatch in August, Mallory Park in September, and the finale at Donington Park. Will this man, Rob Birkinshaw, still be celebrating at the end of the year? He takes the win from Matthew Walker. Super Tuner class goes to Martin Kemp in third. Production won by Stuart King from Neil Holden. Will Watkin is sixth from Darren Smee. Then Craig Smith, Paula Webb in ninth place, Andrew Paul in 10th, and as we said, hard lines to Phil Wright on finish, and also to Peter Venn, who was unable to make the start after the clash in race 1.
Rob Birkinshaw, well done. Yesterday winner, today winner. You must be feeling absolutely amazing.
Yep, good feelings, yeah. Great race, close race with Matt at the beginning of the race, and then I think I just managed to pull a gap through a lap in traffic to pull a bit of a gap.
I think you came in with about a 16-second gap. I mean, that is a huge gap. There was absolutely no chance he was going to catch you. Is that what you're thinking? You were shaking your tail at him on the way round.
Well, a bigger gap than yesterday then. Yeah, just when he were obviously keeping close at the beginning, I thought, I've got to step it up a bit here. And then I think it were literally traffic where I managed to pull a bit of a gap, like cutting through. So, yeah, well pleased.
Hi Matt, second yesterday, second today, second in class, second overall. Was there anything that you could have done to catch Rob yesterday or today?
No, I did give it all my all, honest to God. More power, nothing else. I tried my best, but fair play. Maybe it was the rain.
It was slightly better conditions today. Do you think that made any difference?
Yeah, I think it helped me. Yeah, it'd be nice to see the times. I look forward to seeing the fastest lap, but no, he's just consistently fast. Whereas I hang on to him for a while, but then as soon as there's traffic, he's gone, man.
Martin Kemp, well done. You pulled back a bit from yesterday. You had terrible problems with your clutch. You obviously sorted that out.
I started off a bit gentler and went 1, 2, 3 quick and got going and kept up with the pack. And then it was all systems go from there, so it held out and it paid off.
Did you do any work on the car overnight?
No, none apart from wash it.
So that made a difference, a bit sleeker.
It wasn't worth doing a clutch because there's a gearbox swap between next meetings, so it was a case of just drive it to destruction, but it held out. So. Well, brilliant. I mean, to be on the podium, first race of the season's amazing. So well done. Thank you very much.
The end of the day here at Silverstone for the Toyo Tyres Honda VTEC Challenge. See you all next time at Rockingham.